Canterlot had changed a lot over the past year. Where once the streets had bustled with the upper crust of society and those that envied them, now instead a guard could be seen on every corner. As Dash had flown into town, she had seen what looked like an entire legion spread across the rooftops and gazing out from under awnings. There was no skulking in shadows here. The guards were clearly meant to be a comfort for those left behind and a threat to those who had taken the lost citizens. Despite this, the Asia flyer could tell that they were all on edge, citizens and soldiers alike. Even in broad daylight, what was left to Canterlot society scuttled quickly from building to building, as if the very idea of being caught out in the open was a terrifying prospect. It was supposed to be Nightmare Night in a couple of days, but there was none of the festive cheer she remembered from years past. A few half-hearted decorations hung in the front of windows that were shops that weren't boarded up or abandoned. Rainbow Dash half suspected the cobwebs she was seeing weren't really decorations at all, but the result of hasty abandonment, and no one left behind the dust. A particularly grim thought seized her as she passed a window with a pony skeleton grinning in the darkened window. Was it really a decoration, or had things gotten so bad that they weren't even bothering to clean up after their dead? She tried her best to dispel such grim thoughts as she drew near the place. If she flew up, grim-faced and hot-eyed, she might be mistaken for a pony who was a threat to the princess. Fortunately, it seemed the guards on the palace gate had been expecting her. They lowered their lances and let her pass without challenge as she came for a landing. A white unicorn, dressed in the livery of a captain, greeted her saying, "Rainbow Dash, Princess Celestia extends her greetings and heartfelt apologies for not being able to meet you herself. The princess is busy coordinating the sunset and moonrise. If you follow me, I will show you to the quarters where she will receive you." He turned abruptly and began to lead the way up the stairs to the main hall, all regimental precision and accuracy. Rainbow Dash didn't have much of a choice but to follow close behind. "If you don't mind me asking, what exactly is this all about?" she inquired as she trotted to keep up as they moved through the palace halls. "The Prince Letter only asked for my presence and didn't really say much else. I've kind of got a busy schedule and I don't like leaving my post any more than I absolutely have to." Not that it mattered much anymore, she had to admit bitterly to herself. Even Sweet Apple Acres had gone fallow, the once regimented and ripe fields given over to a tangle of scrub and weeds between unintended trees. Watching a crop of apples fall rotten to the earth hadn't done much to lift her spirits when apple-bucking season come and went. The blue-maned unicorn looked back over his shoulder. "I'm afraid even I am not privy to everything the princess desires, miss. As busy as she has been over those past months, however, I'm sure she would schedule something frivolous when she could be seeing to the needs of the citizens of Equestria." Saying this, he led Rainbow Dash out a wide set of double doors and through one of the gardens towards a few distant towers. It seemed Celestia wasn't going to be receiving her in the place proper. "No, of course, I didn't mean to imply this was a waste of time or anything like that." Rainbow Dash's voice trailed off as her eyes fell on the crest her escort had on his flank. The emblem of his quill mark looked familiar. In fact, Dash realized that there was something very familiar about this stallion in general. It occurred to her that this was probably the longest conversation she'd had with a cute colt, let alone any pony else, in months. She felt like she ought to be nervous, but there was something almost comforting about his presence. "Hey, do I know you? I mean, have we met before?" His perfect step faltered at her question, but instead of answering right away, he quickly led her down one of the winding paths and into a nearby ivory tower. The interior seemed to be a large library, much larger than the one back in Ponyville. "I don't think we ever met formally," he said at last, removing his helmet. "My name is Shining Armor. This tower we're in now has been in the care of my family for many generations. I believe you were a close friend to its previous occupant, my younger sister Twilight Sparkle."